Gentlemen, welcome back to the shop. Today's project is sort of a behind the camera project. I've got this GoPro setup that I'm currently using and it works quite well for me. It starts out with a aluminium camera cage picked up from, I think it was AliExpress or Wish or Temu or one of those guys, or Banggood, can't remember, but nonetheless it's a straight up just a aluminium camera cage for the GoPro. Then in between I've got this mount with a ball in it, which works quite nice because you get onto a angle fairly quickly. Then I've got a GoPro surface mount. This one definitely came from Wish, if I remember correctly. And then I've got a one of these spring clamps that comes from a local hardware store. Just a 1/4 bolt in there because this takes standard camera thread, which is 1/4 inch, 20 threads per inch, with a little roof washer in between that sort of keeps it in place. Now the one problem that I do have with this is you tend to not get the thumb screws. This one I actually tightened up with the pair of pliers now. So you either need to put a pair of pliers on you, or you don't get it tight enough to where it is now that you can sort of work with this thing. So and as you can see, I've had a wrench on all of them and it does not help to make it look neat. So I thought, let's see well, all of these thumb screws are not the plastic ones, they're the aluminium ones. So I thought, let's make a little wrench for it, and just to make it a little bit easier to be filming for you guys. So let's get gunning into it. Okay gents, I've got a piece of 304 stainless steel here. I'm just going to face it off. I think it should be fairly close, and let's start drilling it out and see what we can get to. This chuck has got a 0 mark on the one end, and apparently that's the one where you lock it. I don't know, leave it in the little thing below. Is that the truth or not? Okay, I've got a center drill in the Jacob's chuck. It's a Jacob number 34. Now I have machined 304 stainless before, but it's definitely harder than what I'm used to. But it sort of cuts smoother. Boring it out in any case, so it's just to get the little pilot started. Okay, so the minor diameter of the hole needs to be 16.5. I've got a 15 taper shank drill, yeah. And I'm gonna try and take a bit out of. See, I don't know the edge on this thing. It looks a bit crooked, but let's see what we can do. If I get it in some ways, then we will switch over to the boring bore. Some serious chat here, but hopefully once we get over the edge we'll be okay. The drill will probably stop drilling when we reach the end of the pilot hole. We've got about 2 millimeters to go. And there we go. I think we know it. Okay, now we need to bore it out, so I'm just gonna fit the boarding bar in here. Okay, so I'm not gonna feed this automatically, just gonna feel it by hand. I've got a better feel for it, otherwise this mechanics on mechanics, you just ran it and might end up having a bad day. So I'm just gonna feel it and see if this cutter will cut the stainless steel. I'm gonna cut it till we get start from the deepest point and just bring it out until we've got a square section right on the 15mm, and then we'll bring it to size on 16.5. Okay, so I've bored out the hole till just about the depth of the point of the drill bit. I'm not going to worry about that last little bit. That's not going to be a hassle for us, and we're deep enough in that we can get it done. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to touch off on the inside and then come out 0.75 millimeters, which is 0.0295. So let's see what we can do. Finish I'm getting out of it is really not that bad. Currently we are just under 16, so I think we're still on the money there, where we want to be at 16.5. Just checking my minor diameter again. Guys, I'm still new to this, or getting back into it. I'd rather measure a couple of times than miss the mark. Now we're right on 16. So let's go that last 4th hour and see what happens. $16.2. Let's take a couple of spring passes on here. Luckily this is not as critical, but I want to try and start working to fairly tight tolerances and see what I can get to. $16.48. I don't think I'm going to get better than that. Just deburr it. And now I am just going to deburr the outside edge of it. There we go, gents. I think that'll be fine for now. But now the next step would be to strip off the compound and get the mill around. I haven't run this mill in literally probably about 20 years, if not more. So let's see what we can get out of it. Okay, so there we go. We've touched off. I am going to set my dial to 0. I need to mill in 1.15 millimeter, which is about 45 thou. So let's see if this works. Okay, that's the first one cut. I'm not sure if it's gonna work, but let's give it a bash. I'm gonna advance the I've advanced the dividing rate 45 degrees, so let's get cutting on the next one. And there we go. Let's see how this came out. Yeah, man, it doesn't look too bad. Okay, so here I've got one of the oh, gents, this thing fits like a glove. Ha ha! Success! And what we need to do now is we need to actually flip the dividing head and flip the pot and drill a hole on the side for just a little bit of a thumb extension there. But this thing fits like a glove. Let's check the other one. Okay, so this one is just not there yet. I think I am going to kiss the inside a bit, just with the dividing head. I'm not sure. I don't think I'm going to get back onto center with this thing, but we might try. I think I'll rather give that a bash than trying to mull out this thing, because they do fit into the grooves, but I think my smaller diameter is not exactly there. And if I take out the lock on this thing, there's a bit of play here, so I don't want to go that route. I'm going to chuck it up again and cut it there, but first of all, let's drill the other hole in. This is not unsuccessful. Okay. This is focus. Right on the money. I'm going to be honest with you, I think this is probably the best milling I've ever done. You can see there was a bit of chatter here and there, as you heard when we were cutting it. But other than that, this thing came out absolutely on the money. Okay, gents, so what we've got is we've got our little edge finder in here now. There we go. Let's get it closer to the tool. So what I am going to do is I am going to touch off on this on the edge, although this is not turned down yet. I should have turned this down beforehand, but I didn't, so but it's arbitrary anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch off on this side, move in 10 millimeters, and then we've got a cross direction. What is that? Y direction, X, Y. So in our X direction, let's call this the X direction. I'll check and make sure. So then we can move in the Y direction, move 10 millimeters over and lock the carriage, and then we can touch off on the back end and move to the center of the pot and then drill our hole through. So our little edge finder is 4 millimeters in diameter on the small side. That's what I'm going to use, and so we have to move back 12 then. I hope I can measure that on my dial gauge. Let's quickly see here. 10, 11. I can move 11. So we'll do 6 and 6 then. Well, we'll get it done. Okay, gents, I'm going to be honest with you. From here on, it went downhill at a rate of knots. I stopped filming because the whole project just basically went to shit. Ended up trying to brace in the little handles, and that came out even worse. And like I said, it was an absolute mess. I stopped filming. I thought the whole project was down the drain. Left it for a couple of weeks, then came back to it, got it back into the lathe. Now getting it back into the lathe has got some issues. I couldn't get it to clamp properly, so the surface finish is not what it should have been. But I turned up, well, first of all, heated the whole thing up to red hot again and to get all of this out. Then I recut all the surfaces, got it down to metal where it resembled something. That's why it's got the step in it now. Took a cobalt drill, got the cobalt drill to drill a 5mm hole right through, and then press fit this little piece of stainless steel pin, and eventually we got it to look like something. There you can still see the heat that went into this thing. It was an absolute mess. So just to let you know, I do mess up as well. I made a total mess of this thing. Luckily we got to a point where we sort of salvaged the project. So I think now we can see if this thing works. I'm going to zoom you out a little bit. Back on the little mount of mine, and it actually fits and works wonderful now. We can set all the set screws just that little bit beyond finger tight and not put a handle on it. So I think this is going to work now. I must just not throw this thing away. If I ever have to do something like this again, I'll definitely do it out of aluminium and not stainless steel. Stainless steel is an absolute bollock to work with. But nonetheless, we've got it done. Eventually we persevered and we got it done. Like I said, not really what I had in my head, but it works. It does the job. It 100% does the job. So I can't cry about it. And so yeah, little GoPro Thumb Screw Wrench. But then I'm going to call it and say thank you very much, everybody, if you've made it thus far. I know this is sort of a detached video, but like I say, when the project went to shit, I stopped filming and tried to salvage it. And I thought I'd let you know that I messed stuff up as well. I mess up more often than not. Fortunately, when you're filming, if you mess up, you can just not make a video of it. But I thought, let's make a video of it and well, let's finish the project off and show everyone that if you make a mess of it, don't just throw your hands in the air. Try and salvage it, otherwise start from scratch. But with that, I'm going to call it and say thank you very much, everyone. If you've made it thus far, thanks for watching. As always, please rate, comment, subscribe, and as always, stay safe.